Now, police have arrested up as many as 217 people in connection with a climate change protest in London, organised by Extinction Rebellion. The group has blocked Lambeth and Westminster bridges, but says its aim is to shut down the whole of Westminster as part of its demonstration. And joining me now from Trafalgar Square, one of the locations where demonstrators have been gathering, is Dr. Gail Bradbrook, a co-founder of Extinction Rebellion. Gail, thanks very much for joining us. What is your impression of what today's protest has achieved so far?
We've got some beautiful protests out on the streets of London today. There's people coming from all across the UK. They're determined, they're happy, they're in great song and great cheer despite the weather and despite the arrest, because actually that's part of what we anticipate might happen.
How do you gauge the way that these protests work? I mean, the reason I'm asking is because how do you think they affect the way that politicians make decisions, the very decisions that you would like them to make?
Well, basically, after the April rebellion, we saw a massive increase in public interest in this issue. Thank goodness, because we are in an existential crisis. The politicians started paying lip service to the issues, but literally no action has been taken. In fact, the British government are doing the opposite. They're doing things like HS2, which is going to be the biggest deforestation of the UK since World War I. And, you know, there was a report out this year saying that British wildlife, 1 in 4 mammals are going to go extinct or at risk of extinction. It was 1 in 5 last year. Things are just getting worse. The British government are the biggest subsidisers of fossil fuels in the EU. They're opening new coal mines, they're fracking the UK. You know, frankly, they're paying lip service to this agenda, and we're here to say, outside all these government departments, come on, what's the plan? This is a massive crisis beyond anything humanity's ever faced.
On a practical level, Gail, I'm just thinking, you know, we're dealing with the Parliament where there's no majority for the government. They have trouble getting anything through the House. If you had a government that had a majority and could do things and pass laws in this kind of area, people might, you know, understand why you're pressing the case. But right now, politically, Westminster is frozen. So, you know, what are the chances of a government, you know, actually doing what you want them to do?
I think that's part of the problem, Hugh. We have a democratic system that simply isn't capable of dealing with existential crises. That's a real problem. We need to upgrade British democracy. It's in a complete mess at the minute, and British people are able to take democracy into their own hands, come and be on the streets. That is politics. We're asking for a citizens' assembly to have legally binding ways of saying how we want to tackle the climate crisis. It'd be a bit like a jury service where British people are selected at random, and they go into a situation where they get a lot of information, taught critical thinking skills, and they're the ones that come up with plans. So I think we need to really rethink democracy right now, because it's failing us on all fronts.
And what are the plans for future demonstrations in the coming weeks and months? What are you planning?
Well, we obviously have to see how this goes, and we are in a continuous sort of strategising process. For myself, I actually think we also need to think about not paying our debts off at some point, because the financial system also is bringing life on Earth to the brink of extinction into a massive crisis. You know, this is apocalyptic, and we have to really rewire humanity. We're in the 6th mass extinction event. It's beyond any kind of experience that we've had in the past, so we have to rethink everything. And Extinction Rebellion aren't here to say we need this kind of democracy or this kind of economy. We're saying, come on, folks, look at how serious things are. The last time we were emitting carbon dioxide at this level, not us personally, but that happened in the world in the geological record, was the Permian mass extinction. 97% of all life died. You've got credible commentators saying the collapse of our civilization is inevitable. You've got others saying it's highly likely. We're looking at mass death, potentially only 500 million human beings left on this planet. Everything needs to be rethought. Human beings are amazing. There's loads of great ideas out there. This is not ideological. This is about us all coming together and saying, how can we do this differently? Because what we're doing right now is not working.
Gail, many thanks again for talking to us in Trafalgar Square. Thank you very much to Dr. Gail Bradbrook there, who's co-founder of Extinction Rebellion. Time is 4 minutes to 6.